Recently, I made a video about why cassettes are awesome in my opinion, and a lot of you guys really liked that video and you asked me to do more videos on cassette related stuff. So in this video, we're going to talk about how you can prevent your cassettes from being eaten or destroyed in your player. Hey friends, welcome to Eyezz. I'm Jarrett New, and today we're going to talk about how we can protect our cassette tapes from being chewed up in either our cassette deck or our portable cassette player. Now, as I said in the first cassette video, there are tons of independent bands in 2016 releasing their music on cassette. And a lot of people out there find that fascinating because I guess in 2016 we all just assume that modern bands just release their stuff digitally like on iTunes and Bandcamp. And although many of them do go that route, there are tons of other artists that go one step further and also release their new albums on physical formats such as cassettes and vinyl records. So being that people are buying up all these awesome new albums on cassette, a lot of people out there are concerned that one day these precious tapes that they just bought might get destroyed or eaten by their cassette player. But I'm going to share with you guys 5 things that you can do to pretty much prevent that from happening. So here we go. Number 1, buy a quality player. This one is the most important because if you don't buy a high quality cassette player, then the odds of your cassettes being eaten by that player go way up. And this is due to the fact that a lot of low quality cassette player companies cut corners and use cheap plastic parts to keep their prices down. And just like the crappy Crosley Cruisers for vinyl records, there are also cassette players that might look nice, but they sound terrible, have poor designs, and are more likely to destroy your tapes. So basically, if you buy quality to begin with, it'll save you a lot of headaches later. Number 2, smack the tape. Yes, you heard that right, smack the tape. What do I mean by that? Well, all you have to do is take the cassette tape and smack it against the palm of your hand. And although it sounds crazy, it actually loosens up the tape on the supply reel and it prevents it from stretching while you're playing it. This smacking technique is also important for older cassettes as well because most likely those old tapes have been sitting in a box and have not been played in a very long time. So they're more prone to stretching. So if you smack the cassette a few times, it should free up the tape and prevent it from being eaten by your player. Number 3, demagnetize. Now, for those of you who are new to playing cassettes, you might not be familiar with the whole demagnetizing thing. So let's break it down real quick. Basically, when you play a lot of tapes, a magnetic field will build up inside the player, and that can cause problems with your cassettes. Basically, this is because the magnetically charged cassette tape is passing over the metal parts of the player, causing them to be magnetized. Now, I know it sounds like total science fiction, but actually this is a legit problem. So how do we fix it? Well, you use this tool called a demagnetizer, and all you have to do is plug it in and very slowly move it toward the cassette player, and then slowly move the tip over the tape heads and any other metal parts inside the cassette well. And then after a few seconds of that, slowly move the demagnetizer away from the player and then unplug it. And if you do this every so often, then your cassettes should play and record perfectly. Also, very important, when this thing is plugged into the wall, keep all of your cassettes far away from it because it can erase them if they get too close. So be super careful when you're using this. Number 4, clean the tape heads. In addition to demagnetizing, another important way to protect the lifespan of your cassettes is to clean the tape heads, capstans, and pinch rollers with isopropyl alcohol, also known as rubbing alcohol. Basically, all you need to do is stick a cotton swab into a bottle of 91% isopropyl alcohol and then use that to wipe all of the metal parts inside the cassette well. So essentially, you want to hit all of the same places that you just demagnetized. Any area that comes into contact with the cassette tape should be cleaned from time to time. And yet again, this will prevent the cassette tape from being eaten by your player. Number 5, fast forward and rewind the tape. Now, the final thing you can do to prevent your cassettes from being mutilated is very simple. Fast forward the tape all the way to the end and then rewind it all the way back to the beginning. And just like the smacking method, this also helps loosen up the tape and prevents it from being eaten by your player. You could even do this multiple times if you want to make sure your tape is completely loosened up. Okay, so just to recap, number 1, buy a quality player. Number 2, smack the tape. Number 3, demagnetize. Number 4, clean the tape heads. And finally, number 5, fast forward and rewind the tape. And if you do all of these steps, the odds of your tape popping out of your player like spaghetti are gonna be very low. Now, are you guys familiar with any of these steps? Let me know down in the comments below, and if you like this video, join the vinyl revolution and hit subscribe, because I'm gonna be coming out with a lot of great videos every week that you're not gonna wanna miss. Be sure to find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and more. All of my social media links are down below, and most importantly, friends, keep spinning that vinyl and keep smacking those cassettes.